Black women in America are 3 to 4 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes than white women. And their babies are twice as likely to not survive in the first year of life. These disparities are not accidents. They're the result of systemic racism in healthcare, baked into practices and policies across generations. But behind those numbers are real lives. Mothers, daughters, families. And within those lives are stories of strength, advocacy, resilience, and joy.
I didn't know anything about maternal health at all. I just knew that I needed to protect my sister.
Welcome to Truth Be Told, a 12-part series exploring racial inequity across the lifespan. I'm your host, Wil Green, and today we start where life begins, pregnancy and motherhood. Bringing a child into the world is often a time of joy. Baby showers, family traditions, and the anticipation of new life.
All right, and Amara is right here getting a foot soak. This is a part of the mother blessing.
For far too many Black and brown women, that joy is shadowed by fear. Fear of being dismissed, mistreated, or even losing their life. But within that struggle, there is strength.
I sat on the throne drinking nectar with Allah. I got hot and sent an ice age to Europe to cool my thirst. My oldest daughter is Nefertiti. The tears from my birth pains created the Nile. I am a beautiful woman.
In these verses from Ego Tripping, Nikki Giovanni reminds us that Black motherhood is divine, powerful, and world-shaping. It is a force that births civilizations and commands oceans. As we begin this episode, we honor that legacy through the story of Shyana Broughton, a mother, sister, and doula, whose journey reveals the challenges and triumphs of Black maternal health.
17, having a kid is not easy. Because she's 17. I'm like, you are too young to be navigating stuff by yourself.
Now, how old were you at that time? She was 17. How old were you?
21.
21.
Maybe.
Okay.
And I was at school, so I went to Bonaventure. And she found out she was pregnant, and my mom was furious. So I'm like, all right, I know that this is not going to be easy, but come live with me in my dorm room. It's just me and her, you know what I mean? And I kind of felt like it was necessary to take her from home just because there was a lot of negativity around, you shouldn't be having a baby. You're only 17.
What I'm really hearing for you is kind of like this understanding of, in order to bring a baby into the world, there needs to be some consistency and peace.
Oh, yeah. I did everything I could to try to get her stable in Olean.
So what does stable look like?
I was working at Perkins at the time, and I got her a job there, but she was basically just putting away money for the baby, and I was working to make sure that we had somewhere to stay. I didn't know anything about maternal health at all. I just knew that I needed to protect my sister. She was tired, so I would, make her food and, the things that I do now, really. And as she got closer and closer and closer to having the baby, realizing that, even as I'm stepping into this kind of role of being in the hospital with her, she was dead set against me leaving at any point. So, I was a doula, I suppose. I just didn't know.
Right. Tell me a little bit more about the birth of your nephew.
She ended up having a C-section, but it was really difficult to navigate those emotions without me in the room. So she was actually hell on earth at that point. And that's when I learned how to advocate for her. I'm like, well, you guys are not going to get fired if she's screaming. She was afraid.
Right.
She had to have an emergency C-section. She did not understand what was going on.
In New York State, Black non-Hispanic women are 5 times more likely to die from pregnancy-related causes than white women. And Black infants are twice as likely to die as white infants. These inequities are not new, and they often show up in moments like this, when a young mother's needs are dismissed and her support system shut out.
I could hear her screaming down, I want my sister! And she's being wheeled down the hallway, and I'm just like, you're not going to get far. She will hold this baby in forever. I don't think you understand.
So, of course, your sister's 17. She's afraid. I'm sure you're afraid, too. But what was the experience like in the hospital? Because, I mean, I'll be honest with you. I know Olean a little bit. Mm-hmm. It does not look like buffalo.
97% weight.
Right. So what was that experience like navigating that system in the hospital? And did you notice anything about the treatment your sister was receiving that compelled you to go hard?
Yeah,
you know.
I went to her prenatal visits with her, and I made sure that I understood what was happening at every step, because I hadn't had babies. You know what I mean? Like, I knew I wanted them, but I didn't have them. So I felt more comfortable walking into the room knowing that I knew some of the faces that were in there. And she was treated well on the surface, you know what I mean? Like, but what I didn't realize was hindsight. She probably shouldn't have gotten a C-section. But
research shows Black women are almost 25% more likely to have unnecessary C-sections, needlessly putting them at risk. And this disparity appears to stem from provider biases, not medical factors.
So they called it an emergency only because they put her in a condition that wasn't.
That made it an emergency.
Yeah, it was an emergency because now you're waiting. You've broken the water. She's been sitting here for hours. You know, she's not progressing because he's not ready to come.
Right.
So, you know, we sat up there, obviously, but we didn't know any better.
Do you think that the people in the hospital knew better or should have known better?
I mean, it's kind of tough because they are trained to see it as an emergency, and they're also trained to do certain things when they hit a certain age gestationally. So if my sister was 41 weeks, they are now calling that an emergency. If the baby comes 2 weeks late, that's because the baby needed to come 2 weeks late. An emergency is literally the baby stopped breathing, stopped moving, pooped in there, you know what I mean? Like that kind of stuff. And it's the medical system. It's not necessarily the doctor. The system itself is the problem. We know that our bodies are meant to have babies, but they want to avoid an emergency, so they then put all this panic on the mom.
Tell me about your first child and that experience.
Well, I had my first child when I was 25, not married, but the reason I say that is because my partner at the time was not visible. So my experience was rough. I showed up to my prenatal visits alone, so they were able to kind of formulate their own, you know, like story behind it. I had him at a hospital that was considered to be better than the ones in the city. Oh, they're going to treat you much better out there. Oh, they really don't treat moms well at these hospitals in the city. And I was treated like garbage. I can think about it right now and get very, very angry because there were parts of that experience that I would have preferred it didn't happen to me, because I loved being his mother. I just wanted him to be safe and happy, and the people around me were not very comforting to me. The staff, they were horrible. They made me feel inadequate as a mom, so I was going home with doubts already.
Black women across the U.S. often describe the same experience, being unheard and stripped of choice in the delivery room. It's not just about hurt feelings. It's about health outcomes. Studies show that these patterns of bias and neglect directly contribute to higher rates of complications and maternal mortality.
I was holding him, like I was just holding him, and I'm like in mom bliss, right? And I'm just rubbing his back, and I'm
endorphins
my eyes
popping.
are right. Eyes are closed. They were like, "Oh, you know, you can't sleep with the baby." I was like, "I'm not sleeping. You know that we're gonna have to take him to the nursery." No, you're not. This is my baby. So I had to remind them several times not to take my baby, and then also several times tell them not to give my baby formula. They did it anyway. Not to give my baby a pacifier. They did it anyway. You guys are already sending me home with issues. Now my son is having a hard time because he's had formula, he's had a pacifier, and now I'm trying to breastfeed. You know, it's like little things like that, like things that will literally sabotage you, because now it's kind of hard. Speed up maybe 6 years later with my daughter.
Second child?
Yes, my second baby. I was married and I still had a crummy experience. And to me, I think it was really just because they have this perception already. If you come to your prenatal visits alone, you must be single. And so now we can manipulate you as much as we need to. Because, I mean, my husband at the time was working around the clock. So for me, I did not like that experience either, even as a married person. And by the time I was ready to push her out, my epidural was wearing off. I had already been exhausted because I was in labor for about 8 hours. I was on my back trying to push her out. And I'm like, ah! And I screamed as loud as I could. And the nurse was like, you don't need to scream. That's not going to get the baby out. I was like, what? I said, I am hollering, sweetheart.
Imagine you're in labor, your body doing work and crying out. And instead of care, you're silenced. That dismissal is no accident. It comes from a history of medical myths about Black women in pain, rooted in racism, reinforced by medical training, and tragically still influencing care today. James Marion Sims, the so-called father of modern gynecology, built his career experimenting on enslaved women without anesthesia. His work spread a lie that Black women don't feel pain the same way as white women, and that lie still lingers today. A 2016 study found that half of white medical trainees believed distorted notions like Black people having thicker skin or less sensitive nerve endings. These false biological assumptions directly shaped how doctors assessed and treated pain, often leading to undertreatment of Black patients suffering. Today, research shows that Black women are still less likely to receive adequate pain relief. In one study, physicians underestimated pain in Black patients almost 50% of the time. So when Shyana was told she was too loud, it wasn't just poor bedside manner. It echoes a legacy where Black women's pain is seen as exaggerated, their voices deemed excessive. And while no scientific truth supports any notion of higher pain tolerance in Black bodies, these damaging myths continue to shape real, dangerous outcomes.
I think this is the thing about racism, these hidden cues for people, that almost gives them permission to treat you a certain way.
Yeah.
If you don't have an advocate there, oh yeah, it's just this person.
Now we can manipulate.
And now it's compounded with this whole idea of a mother without a father. Now, you don't got to come in here and say, hey, I got a baby daddy. I got a father. He's just not here. He's working. You shouldn't have to explain that, but we know that's how the system works. People make suppositions, and then they treat you the way they want to treat you. Are there any things that stick out in your mind that would allow our listeners to know exactly what that felt like?
Yeah. Well, I mean, even down to like signing the birth certificate, it's more of a feeling. Oh, so is the dad going to sign the birth certificate? What do you mean? He's behind me. Or, oh, is there someone at home, going to help you? It's a little bit of a tone, a tinge that lets me know that you are assuming that there's no one around for me. You almost second guess yourself. Like, maybe I'm just a little sensitive. And then you're like, maybe I'm not.
Those are the microaggressions.
Yeah.
Right? And it's the tone. It's the, just how they speak to you, how you're looked at. And then what they do is pile up. Because at first you're like, you know what? I might be tripping. But by the fifth microaggression, you're like, oh, no.
Yeah.
You know what? You're trying to play me.
I told them not to give her anything artificial. Please don't give her formula. Please don't give her a pacifier. They had given her formula. They gave her sugar water. And they kind of explained it away like, oh, she needed to be in the nursery. I'm saying, but she did not have a chance to latch. So by the time I got home, she was miserable. She was not nursing well. I had to figure it out on my own. There was no lactation counselor on the floor at the time when I was discharged. So I called WIC. They did not get back to me until 6 months later. My daughter and I had to fight it out.
6 months is a long time.
6 months, we thugged it out. And WIC then calls me back. And they're like, so do you still need help? I'm like, no.
The National Institutes of Health report that hospitals are less likely to discuss breastfeeding options with Black families, and that breastfeeding support is likely to be more limited in Black communities. Even when mothers ask for support, too often it comes too late or not at all. That lack of respect and care drives mothers like Shyana to challenge inequities in birth work and to find their voices.
It paints a pretty good picture of why I did not go back my third time. Like I did not feel welcome in the hospital. I think that was probably the first time I stood on my own and said, well, I'm going to have to figure out how I'm having this baby because it's not in the hospital. And I did not know of Eileen Stewart at the time. So I was actually looking for her and getting more and more pregnant by the day,
And Eileen Stewart was the midwife.
Eileen Stewart was my midwife.
For the birth of your third child.
Yes, she was. I had her as my midwife and had my baby in her home. From the door, it was different because I showed up on her doorstep in my second trimester. It already felt like she was there as a mother figure, someone who was very clear on what birth was, but also wanted to remind me that I was in control, that my body was prepared to have this baby, that all of the things that I heard before was all pish posh. And from there, that's when I knew it was different. I became very giddy about my baby. Like I really got a chance to really sink into being pregnant, enjoyed being pregnant, enjoyed all of the things that were kind of stripped a little bit from being in a stoic environment. I got that all back.
So everybody's working together at this point.
Yes.
And you have the opportunity to focus on the beauty of life. That's pretty cool.
I mean, it did. It was a switch. It was such a beautiful switch too, because even when he was coming, it was probably the hardest 20 minutes of my life, but I had a 9-pound baby in 20 minutes.
That's a big boy.
And I mean, I'm pretty sure that, in the hospital, I've actually been, hush, you're kind of loud. And I mean, Eileen's like, roar the baby out, do it. And it was so beautiful because I did feel connected. Like I loved my first 2 children, but it was such a different experience that it made me almost grieve my first 2 experiences too. Because yes, I do love my kids, but because I loved becoming a mother, some of those things were kind of in the shadows. I couldn't necessarily grasp it as much as I did with Noah. Noah is he showed me how strong I was.
From sterile and dismissive to spiritual and empowering, Shyana knew she wanted to become a doula and empower other women.
I saw the need for advocacy. And a lot of these women, the commonality is that they don't have someone in the room. So I think I kind of placed myself in this sweet spot of being completely obsessed with babies and pregnant women and loving my people too.
Can you tell me more about maybe some of this experience with your grandmother that was a part of the impetus for this journey for you?
I was obsessed with my grandmother. So I was about 8 years old when I was looking at a brand names catalog, which is kind of similar to Walmart.
Better than Walmart.
It was better than Walmart. You're right. So I was flipping through, and most kids are looking at toys. I am looking at baby stuff. So it triggered her into a conversation about her second baby passing away. And I'm just like, wow, you lost a baby? From there, it was always something in the back of my mind, when she's quiet, what is she thinking about? She lost a child, and no one really actually connected those dots. So I was curious about why she wasn't taken care of properly. She said they were cold-hearted. They told me very coldly, your baby is dead. And she literally proceeded to pick up everything in there and throw it. And I'm like, that makes sense to me.
Right.
It makes sense to me, and it makes sense to me even more the more I had kids, the more I see babies being born, the more I understand that fire doesn't go anywhere. You lost a child and someone was negligent, and they did not produce the information that you needed to close this tab in your life. So the fire, it literally is carried with me. If she wouldn't have told me, I probably would not be the person that is sitting here, because I just found it so unfair. I'm just lost a baby. You know what I mean? A baby. So from there, I feel like I was even closer to her.
I can't think of a better gift for you to give your grandmother than to be what you've become, right? So what is a doula?
A doula is a birth partner, someone who is pretty much your coach. Like I call myself like your birth bestie, somebody that will kind of put your mind at ease if you are a little chaotic about information that you've gotten from the doctor. If you have a question about, anything that might be going on, I can give a little bit of guidance on how you can navigate different parts of pregnancy. I even go deep into postpartum.
Why a doula?
Well, why not? Because the medical system is what it is, and I won't knock people because people are doing good work in the medical system, but the medical system needs to be reevaluated because our numbers are very high as Black women. It's mistrust, it's systemic and implicit bias that basically have been curated from a long time ago, and it's been like kind of cultivated to just continue over and over.
Why Black doulas?
Because we need to be in the same spaces with our Black moms. We are not represented well in the medical system. A lot of the times you won't see Black doctors, and so there's a trust factor. If you have a Black mom who is already guarded, she's not going to trust very easily. And if I'm in the room, I can at least help her to make better decisions. Like, okay, well, this doctor is actually giving you some good stuff. We can make, like a good connection here so that the doctor doesn't feel like the enemy. And even the doctor will then understand the mom better. You know what I mean? Like
Research shows when physicians and patients share the same race or ethnicity, patient care improves dramatically. Black Americans make up 13% of the population and only 5% of physicians.
So what does that support look like?
I tell them right in the beginning, I am more like a sister. I'm about to get in your business. I want to know how you're sleeping. I want to know if you've pooped today. I want to know if you have stress at home. I think that it's important for me to know because you're carrying a baby and that can literally stop you from having the birth of your choice. Mm-hmm.
The birth of their choice. Mm-hmm. You know why this interests me? Mm-hmm. Because inequity is about a lack of choice.
Correct.
When you don't have power, you don't have choices.
Correct.
So explain this concept to me, this birth of choice.
I start early asking them to envision the birth of their choice because medical systems will take that choice away. They'll start talking about C-section immediately. They'll start talking about induction immediately. They'll tell you that if you've had a C-section in the past that you have to have another one, and the mom might not want that. They'll start telling you what you're going to do. And I'll say, well, is that what you want to do? Because you actually can choose differently. And it's a choice.
The challenges don't end at birth. Black women are more likely to experience postpartum depression compared to white women. But here's the good news. Community-based, culturally rooted support programs, like bringing meals, shared rituals, or simply showing up, help protect mothers' mental health and reduce postpartum depression.
What does the doula's work look like post-birth?
We probably will speak a lot about breastfeeding also in the beginning to make sure that they understand that is also a choice and present all of that information to them. A couple of days, they go home. I check in on them. I'm probably there within, 3 to 5 days, probably bringing her soup and all kind of other stuff to help her heal from the inside. Tea, soup, encouragement, because the first couple of days can be rough. You can't really think when you're like overstimulated. Baby's crying, boobs are leaking, things hurt, you know what I mean? So you're trying to get them to their next best step. And I tell, kind of reminder that the best thing that you could possibly do is snuggle with your baby. Just kind of make it more of a norm so that they can enjoy motherhood, not necessarily rush.
They say it takes a village to raise a child. Shyana has created our Mommy Village, a sanctuary where mothers and babies are celebrated and where equity begins with community.
Alrighty, how are you? How's the baby? Let me see.
What's your name, love? Amara. Yes.
Today is a special moment, right? We bring in the energy today.
Yes, we are.
Tell me about our Mommy Village.
Okay, well, I am in the wing of the Grace Women's Health Clinic. We have our own wing on the other side of the clinic in a very special place on Jefferson because I actually wanted this space on purpose because of what happened for the 514 attacks. It was necessary for me to get some happy over here. Like it was
Cleanse the
sad for a
space.
while. Yes,
Yes.
please. So I feel like what better way than to have babies celebrated over here, moms celebrated over here. So they're leaving with different energy. Very excited.
Okay.
It's a mother blessing for our community to welcome our winter babies. And some of the moms will be in here today. Some of the babies will be trotting around today. I've got my stuff all set up, lentils,
Okay.
fruit.
So I love that you're bringing this here to birth new energy, right? To impact this community that certainly we know what happened before, and now you're bringing this new energy here.
Mama. That's what the baby hears first thing. First thing the baby hears.
Yep. When you guys see the moms come in and you see the babies, you'll see how important it is for me to welcome them. I know that it was a lot for you to get your 38-week body here, okay? And 32 weeks is not easy either, by the way. We have these 4 women who are excited to be welcomed, not only just to the village, but also to be moms.
Really nice.
Jefferson.
It's nice to feel cared for, during
Yep,
pregnancy.
I see. So
Been through a lot in my previous pregnancy, so to get this type of like love and nurturing is really nice.
Okay. So would you
the
recommend
focus is on the mother, because if she's not okay, nothing is going to prosper. You know, we have to, remember that the mother starts it. Entrepreneurs, teachers, dentists, whatever you can think of was nurtured first. All right.
we need to get her some fruit? That seemed
Fruit,
like it.
we got vegetables, we've got lentils, all of those things she can have.
I will have all the above.
Right. So I will get you a plate too.
Shayna's story reminds us that equity begins at birth. Every mother deserves dignity. Every child deserves a safe start.
What are some takeaways that we should leave this conversation with?
I think that it's important for us to look at moms and babies differently. You don't have to be a doula to be supportive. You can be an advocate. Anyone that you know that is having a baby, give them the best that you got. And sometimes it is one meal that will make all the difference. You can literally just be loving.
Thank you.
You are welcome.
So how can we come together to change the narrative and improve the outcomes? Cultural education for medical staff, bias training for healthcare providers, and building a more diverse healthcare workforce are all part of the solution. But we don't have to wait for the system to change. As Shyana reminds us, each of us can play a role in supporting mothers, in our families, in our neighborhoods, in our communities. Working together, we can build a future where all mothers and their children can thrive. In our next episode, we continue this journey through a lifespan, exploring infancy and early childhood. We'll meet Faye and hear the joys and challenges of raising 3 children as a single mother in Buffalo. I'm Wil Green. Thank you for listening to Truth Be Told. We hope you'll join us next time. Truth Be Told is a production of Buffalo Toronto Public Media and Cruise Control Media in collaboration with Clementine Gold Group LLC and WUFO.